In the spring of 1775, the plains of North America stood on the brink of war. For over a decade, tensions had simmered between the 13 colonies and Great Britain. The passing of the Quebec Act, seen by colonists as part of the Intolerable Acts, further fueled resentment. By March 1775, the Massachusetts Provincial Congress had declared that any large British force leaving Boston would be met with armed resistance. Under orders from London to disarm the colonial militias and arrest Patriot leaders, General Gage devised a plan, a swift, secret raid to capture military supplies in the town of Concord, 20 miles west of Boston. But the Patriots had their intelligence network. On the evening of the 18th of April, 1775, Dr. Joseph Warren, top Patriot leader still active in Boston, received word that British troops were on the move. He immediately dispatched 2 couriers to warn Hancock and Adams, Patriot leaders who were hiding in Lexington, and to alert the militias. Just before dawn on the 19th of April, around 5 a.m., a force of 700 Redcoats, led by Lieutenant Colonel Francis Smith, descended upon Lexington. Standing on the village common were 77 militiamen under the command of Captain John Parker. Parker had ordered his men not to be discovered nor meddle or make with said regular troops unless they should insult or molest us. What followed remained shrouded in ambiguity. British officers ordered the militia to disperse and throw down their arms. Parker later stated he ordered his men to disperse and that the Redcoats fired upon them without receiving any provocation. However, a British officer, Lieutenant William Sutherland, claimed some colonists fired first from behind a hedge. Regardless of who fired first, a single shot rang out, forever known as the shot heard round the world, instantly followed by a general discharge from the British ranks. The skirmish was brutal and brief, leaving 8 militiamen dead. Only 1 British soldier was wounded. Lexington was devastated, but the British, under strict orders, pressed on towards Concord. Upon reaching Concord, the British found their objective largely frustrated. Most Patriot military supplies had been moved or hidden. They burned what little they saw, and in frustration, set fire to several houses, which the colonists quickly extinguished. By 9 a.m., approximately 400 Colonial militiamen had gathered on the high ground overlooking the North Bridge, their anger ignited by rumors of the Lexington Massacre and the sight of smoke rising from Concord. Under the command of Colonel James Barrett, the militia advanced. Both sides initially held fire, but the British detachment guarding the bridge fired a ragged volley, and the colonists retaliated with deadly effect. 2 British soldiers were killed, and a 3rd wounded, leading the outnumbered Redcoats to turn and run. With over 1,000 militiamen now surrounding Concord, Lieutenant Colonel Smith understood the gravity of his position. It was time to retreat back to Boston. The march back to Boston became a grueling, continuous engagement, later known as the Battle of the Bay Road. Smith himself noted that there were scarcely 5 minutes the entire way back to Boston that they were not under constant fire. Thousands of Patriot militiamen, leveraging their intimate knowledge of the rugged terrain, lined the route. They employed effective hit-and-run tactics, ambushing the British column from behind stone walls, trees, and dense undergrowth. The British faced a desperate and shambolic retreat. Their rigid tactical formations, effective in open European battlefields, proved ill-suited to the wooded countryside. As ammunition ran low and casualties mounted, desperation set in. Just as the exhausted British were on the verge of surrender, 1,000 reinforcements under Earl Percy arrived outside Lexington, bringing 2 powerful field guns. These cannons were incredibly effective in keeping the militia at bay, dispersing them with their thunderous blasts. However, the Colonial militia, now swelling to nearly 4,000 strong, was undeterred. The fighting intensified, with desperate street and even hand-to-hand combat, particularly in Monotony, which suffered the highest American casualties of the day. After 14 relentless hours of marching and fighting, the British finally limped into Charlestown and the relative safety of Royal Navy guns in Boston Harbor. The battles of Lexington and Concord resulted in significant casualties on both sides. General Gage's strategy to prevent conflict had dramatically failed. The shot heard round the world had irrevocably set the stage. What began as civil and legal arguments over rights and taxation had transformed into outright war. Boston was now under siege, penned in by ever-increasing colonial reinforcements. In the weeks that followed, volunteers from across all 13 colonies marched to join the burgeoning American force. The Second Continental Congress began to assume the mantle of a wartime government, making one of its most pivotal decisions, appointing the 43-year-old Virginian delegate, George Washington, as commander-in-chief of the new Continental Army. There was no turning back for either side. The American Revolution had truly begun.